We are live on Facebook. Now we're gonna go try to go live on. No, we're live on YouTube. Now we're gonna go try to go live on Facebook. Facebook always takes an extra second, but we should be good. And we are live. So, good afternoon, everybody. It is February 18th, correct?
You bet.
Thursday, February 18th, 2021 already. We have two amazing guests today on our podcast. We have Peter Navarro. He's a national educator for ancient nutrition. We'll introduce him shortly. And a familiar face, Mitch Booth. He actually celebrating his 30th anniversary with Love Whole Foods, a local Whole Foods store here in Ormond Beach, a satellite store in Port Orange. And so we're going to have a great discussion with these two gentlemen here, mostly on collagens and bone broth and how these products could benefit us, not only to restore joint integrity, but there's many other benefits to them. So I think it's going to be a really good educational podcast today. I am Dr. Mike from My Credentials. You can go to my website, mikevantielen.com, or easier, mvtonline.com. You find my credentials, all the other podcasts, some free resources, my books, etc. So let's get started. We're going to start here with Peter. Peter, where are you calling in from? I'm gonna your audio should come through the TV. Just gonna make sure that we got it all. It's coming through there. Say that again. I just gotta make sure we got our audio 100% straight here.
I'm calling in from San Jose, California.
There you go. Yay. What's the weather like there, Peter?
Nice and sunny.
Yeah, same here. Same here.
Well, why don't you guys kick it off? I want to make sure our audio is fine because Peter, let's see here. Go ahead, Peter, say something.
All right, it's our Valentine's real special to us because that marks our anniversary. So what'd you do for your sweetie for Valentine's Day?
So we bought some steaks, went home, cooked, and had a nice movie night. It was definitely a nice to be in.
That's great. I hope those were grass-fed organic beef steaks. Yeah, actually, my son's birthday is Valentine's Day, and we did beef Wellington. That was his what he wanted for his birthday. So, and we got the wonderful grass-fed organic beef that we have at the store. It was great.
I'm very jealous. I only had beef Wellington once at a restaurant, and it was not grass-fed.
Well, yeah, that's his specialty. He does. Every year he asks for the same thing, so it's real predictable, but also it's good.
All right, I got another solution, so we're going to go ahead here.
And we'll share.
Yeah. Peter, how did you get involved in nutrition?
So growing up, my mother was very ill. She had went to a ton of specialists trying to find out what was wrong with her. She wasn't able to really eat anything. She was always lethargic and tired and would sleep for so many hours a day. And one day I found one of her books that I had to read a book for school. And I found her Natural Cures That I Want You to Know About from Kevin Trudeau. So I took the book to school and started reading it. And the information that I was absorbing, I was like, whoa, this kind of stuff is going on, and organic and the food industry. So from there, it definitely hooked me and drew me in. And that's just where it started. And when I was about 16 years old, I just continued to buy books related to the health industry and supplementation and diet, and it just grew to become a passion of mine.
So you kind of educated yourself.
Yes, definitely.
So then how did you get involved with, is Ancient Nutrition the first company you worked for?
So yes, Ancient Nutrition is technically the first supplement company I worked for. So I actually started out of high school working at a local vitamin shop just due to my passion for working out and sports nutrition, because that's generally how it started as well. And from there, I made my way to working at some of the other establishments, Whole Foods, Sprouts, and then I met one of the representatives for Ancient Nutrition, and I started demoing for them. And one day, Jordan and Josh couldn't make an event, so they had heard me speak to the customers, and they were like, "Hey, do you mind educating some of the customers on the benefits of bone broth and collagen and some of the other products?" And they said that I was a natural for it, and I was just very honored and excited to be able to express my passion and some of the knowledge I had acquired to as many people as possible, because this is very important information.
No, that's great. And for people who are in this industry, they've probably heard about bone broth and collagens, but mostly the name Josh X. And because he's kind of pioneer there, and you work with him in this company. And so what's for those who don't know, who is Josh X and what's the story?
So Dr. Josh X is a clinical nutritionist. He's a doctor of chiropractic and a doctor of natural medicine. And his story started growing up. His mother was diagnosed with cancer, and he wanted to help her overcome that. So she was actually changing the way she ate, using affirmations, visualizations. She actually was diagnosed a second time with cancer, and it just became his mission to want to make information readily available, because at the time, they weren't really talking about good health and nutrition and supplementation and the power of our mind. So he decided that he wanted to become a pioneer for learning all things health. He would read every book that he possibly could. He wanted to get his hands on. And again, it's just a testament of helping his mother overcome her own health challenges, which led him to meeting Jordan Rubin and venturing off into creating Ancient Nutrition to, again, share as much of the valuable information that he's acquired with as many people as possible.
Very good. And then the relationship between Mitch and you guys is obviously Mitch always does his homework and only gets the best products in his store. And so that's how Mitch hooked up with Josh X, correct?
Correct. And it was through, we met Jordan 20 years ago, maybe 17 years ago. We had Jordan give a presentation. Actually, it was on our 25th anniversary. On our 20th anniversary. I'm sorry. A decade ago. So, and so I consider Jordan to be one of the foremost authorities in food as medicine. And the other thing that I like about Jordan is that his passion for innovation and always coming up with a better way to research a outcome that meets a price point, because he understands that there's a reality in the marketplace, but he always gives the customer value beyond whatever they put on the table for the price of the product. And as you know, Jordan's passion for standards, and his first company was a Florida company. And our mission statement, we try to support local Florida farmers as opposed to California farmers. We have egg farmers that are local. We have we're buying beef from again, local farmers, and we do business whenever we can. We're expanding our main campus now, and we're hiring local construction companies. I love Whole Foods about the community. And what we're celebrating this week is to say thank you for those people that have allowed us to succeed. But it's by honoring those standards. And standards is what Dr. Axe has right on I don't have a tub to display, but there are Corp B, an organization, which means they're the highest standard on making sure that their corporation leaves a smaller footprint on the environment. The certifications, when they say it's gluten-free, they've got the actual clinicals to show that it is hypoallergenic. So we're really happy, but it started with Jordan. Now, to me, it's like two superheroes have just joined forces. Yeah. And then, of course, with the new product that's just come out, and our Peter and I were talking about it, we've brought out that new generation of collagen, not only with the type 1, the 5, the type 1, 3, 5, and 10, but the new one now has some other elements that I'd like to turn over to Peter. Tell us what this new structure, we know that there are basically 5 collagens that the human body converts into soft tissue vitality. And the new product keeps those, but we've taken it to another level with, I'm going to let Peter fill in the blank.
Peter, that's a good intro. So, and Mitch is a great advocate in the community. He always sources locally, and his standards of his products are higher than the average, store, just because he does his research, and he does it 24/7. Trust me, that's his life. So, but before we get into the specific types of collagens and the product, what I want to do for the viewers is take it a step back and talk a little bit about, what are collagens, how are collagens made in our body, and how do they benefit us. So let's give us, Peter, a general overview of what collagens do in our body and what they are before we go into the products. Can you do that?
Sounds great. So collagen is a protein. It's one of the most abundant proteins in the human body, about 30% total. The Greek root for collagen is actually glue. So it's essentially the glue that holds our entire body together. So whether it's our bones, our connective tissue, our tendons, all of these are supported by collagen. And it's important to get collagen in our diets because traditionally our ancestors used to eat a nose to tail type diet. Nothing went to waste, nothing was discarded. So we had access and abundance to specific amino acid profiles, as well as cofactors and nutrients that would normally be found in animal bones. So flash forward today, we seem to have much more of an emphasis on muscle building protein, which is fantastic. Everybody wants to build muscle and maintain muscle integrity. However, collagen deals with areas such as our hair, our skin, our nails, our bones, even our teeth. Fun fact, there's more collagen in our teeth than there is calcium. So it just goes to speak to a testament of why having collagen in our diet is so important, because it covers us from head to toe, both internally as well as externally.
Okay, now is collagen produced by our own body using amino acids? Is that correct?
Yes. So when we consume collagen, our body, just like any other protein, will break down those complete proteins into individual amino acids, specifically proline, glycine, hydroxyproline, glutamine, and arginine, all designed to help support not only collagen formation, but they do support other areas of the body, like promoting healthy detoxification, as well as a healthy response to inflammation, and even supporting wound healing with arginine because of its ability to act as a vasodilator and really help with nutrient and blood flow delivery, especially to specific areas of the body.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, when you eat collagen, you break it down in amino acids. But if we have joint problems and deteriorations of our joints, is it the body that takes amino acids and then builds collagens? How does that work?
So in the instance of collagen, this would be a collagen versus bone broth type scenario, because by just consuming a collagen-based product, we're getting that raw material, again, those amino acids. But when we look at a food or even a powder like bone broth, what we're doing is we're actually getting the cofactors known as glycosaminoglycans. So that's a family of glucosamine, chondroitin, and even hyaluronic acid. And all those are very important in dealing with our joints and cartilage, our synovial fluid, our structural integrity. So all of those are very critical in terms of supporting our overall joints and tendons, as opposed to just consuming a collagen that's only giving you those amino acids and those building blocks.
Yeah.
But can I also interject that it makes sense doing the protein, let's say a fillet that doesn't have a lot of it, but if you don't have the amino acids to be able to actually work on the collagen, the connective tissue, you know, think the tendons and the sinew on a chicken that typically gets thrown out. If you don't have that building block, the amino acids don't have anything to activate.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So again, it doesn't replace a good diet, but with our understanding about that the component of, let's say, the what when I grew up was called gristle. The gristle is what you want, and then if you've got the amino acids in the collagen powder, you're converting that and utilizing it.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, right.
What are other sources, or what are the sources of collagen that we can consume besides meat and bone and tendons? Then I guess is if we eat chicken wings, we really got to get it down to the bone, huh?
So some people eat that way too. Traditionally,
Yeah, sure.
Eating off the bone was very common for some of our ancestors, especially during times like the Great Depression, where we didn't really have a lot of access to solid sources of protein. So you would even be gnawing on the bone just to get some of that extra, like you were saying, gristle or those tendons or those gelatinous type material. Another great way is consuming chicken skin or even fish skin, which are great sources of collagen. Normally, today in our society, we think, oh, chicken skin, fish skin, that's unhealthy, or we shouldn't be consuming that, and you discard it. But what you're doing is you're getting rid of a valuable source of collagen that can have greater benefits to our skin specifically as well.
If I could interject a story, I had the privilege of meeting Bernie Siegel, Dr. Bernie Siegel, the great oncologist. And he grew up in Brooklyn, but his grandparents were Yiddish. And he had those stories where his Yiddish grandmother took the whole chicken and threw it in the pot. And then we had this wonderful Vietnamese, the people watching that knew the wonderful produce manager we had, her name was Dwai. She was Vietnamese. They would take the whole fish and throw it in, you know, the base stock on every Vietnamese cuisine was the whole fish. And you cooked it down until the matrix went into the broth.
So those are all meat and fish sources. Are there also plant sources of collagen?
So at this time, there's no specific plant-based collagen. However, there's always precursors and nutrients that can help support and act as collagen boosters. A couple of those would be silica, which is an amazing trace mineral that helps support our bone health. Now, vitamin C is very, very important to our overall formation of collagen. A lot of people say that the vitamin C aspect is short for vitamin collagen, and having an adequate amount of vitamin C is very important, because if we're deficient, if we're not consuming a vitamin C supplement, if we're not having a diet high in citrus fruits, we're going to be lacking, and we're not going to be able to have our body's full capability to produce and restore our collagen. There's even taking individual amino acids such as the proline, the glycine, the glutamine, the arginine, and even hyaluronic acid supplements. All of those will help naturally boost our own collagen production by providing the necessary nutrients to perform an optimal function.
Because the amino acids we're talking about are the essential amino acids, correct? That are needed.
Correct.
And so essential amino acids, our body produces its own amino acids, but the essential ones are the ones that we have to get from our diet.
So the non-essential we have to get from our diet. And even though they're essential, people often think that we don't need them, but our body only produces so much in terms of the essential, especially if we're not giving it the raw material or eating a healthier diet. That's why it's so important to make sure that what we're getting into our diet, what we're putting into our body, is acting as an effective tool to help us, again, rebuild and repair naturally, supporting our body's natural healing process.
So if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, what you need to focus on then is ingesting all those precursors and the right amino acids to still get the collagen. Would we be missing something? Would we be missing something by not eating that bone broth?
So we wouldn't be getting the same quality or the same quantity of those amino acids. But again, some is better than none. But yes, if you are a meat eater, or if you're somebody who doesn't mind consuming the powders, it's a great source to, again, allow those specific nutrients to get into our body. And one thing that people often overlook is, especially if you're dealing already with a compromised digestive system, if you're already dealing with joint issues or any type of inflammation, our body's demand for those essential amino acids is increased. So again, if we're not providing the body with those raw materials, we're basically setting ourselves up to not recover and to not be able to perform as best as we would like to.
Excellent. Is collagen, I assume, both important for men and women?
Absolutely, and I'm glad you brought this up, because there is this misconception that only women can benefit from collagen, and that could be further from the truth. I mean, we all have hair, skin, and nails. We all have an internal structural system that, our bones, our cartilage, our tendons. So we both, men or women, require having, again, these specific amino acids to help support our body. And there was actually an interesting study that I found that was done in the British Journal of Medicine, and it was saying that when it came to men and women, comparing them, men are actually more prone to having wrinkles at an earlier age, and even more aggressive wrinkles, which is something I found interesting, because usually we think, or we hear women talk about, oh, I'm getting wrinkles, I need up my collagen, when in fact, men, we should be really concerned about, again, making sure that we're providing that basic foundation to support our body in its entirety, and address those areas, especially with our skin. And then if we work out, even if we live a sedentary lifestyle, all those sitting in those awkward positions, having those cofactors and the collagen can help with the fluidity of our body and our ability to move and bend. And again, if we're working out, it's very important that we have collagen as well, because we normally associate collagen with only our joints and tendons, but people don't realize that collagen also supports the actual structure and the shape of our muscles, because if we didn't have collagen, they would just kind of be, not looking.
They'd be flaccid, right?
Well, very interesting, because it's the same story with calcium, right? Osteopenia, osteoporosis. It's like only women go tested, and only women, take calcium to prevent osteopenia, osteoporosis. But you never hear a man, talking about he doesn't have enough calcium either. I guess it's the same with menopause, right? Women go to the menopause, men go to andropause. But we just sit in the couch bitching about it instead of doing something about it, I guess, versus women go do something about it. So it's the same with collagen. Men need collagen too, right?
And we need the exercise, the trigger to get these these channels to be able to utilize the collagen exercises. I mean, and that's where our relationship comes in. You can do all of this, but if you're sedentary, it doesn't just happen miraculously.
No, movement always is important. I don't believe we need to join a gym or do organized sports, but it's movement, because movement is circulation and oxygenation. And so we need to get everything moving through our circulation, but also our lymph system that carries the white blood cells, etc. So everything is about movement, whether it's just dancing or walking the dog or just getting up and walking around the house. As long as we don't sit still, our body will distribute everything to where it needs to be. So, like you said, the raw materials need to go somewhere in order for, the factory to make something.
And then again, going back to Bernie Siegel, he was adamant it isn't just the movement, it's also waste elimination, drinking enough water to clean 3 trillion cells. And again, if the tendons wear out, and there's cellular debris, well, you can't build and replace that until you get rid of the old debris. Bernie was brilliant on that, and he was chastised for it. I attended a seminar where he was literally saying that for chemo patients, prescribing a set amount of fluid was critical, so that the cellular debris of the dead cancer cells, and they questioned him, do you have any scientific data to verify that? And it's funny, because Bernie's really a straight, there's no fancy schmancy. And he just said there are some things that are so obvious, you'd have to be malignant dumb to spend the time to do the study.
When it comes to cancer patients, that is actually proved, because if they don't detox properly,
right,
they all end up with neuropathy.
Right, or
because
other
the toxins are attacking the small diameter nerve
fibers. But it's
the symptoms that show that there's toxicity in the body, so we need to eliminate that. I mean, it's common sense, but
Right.
that lacks sometimes. People always need that scientific proof, and common sense doesn't work anymore. Now, Peter, we talked about men, women. What about age? Is there a certain age we need it more? Is there a certain age we cannot supplement with collagen?
So collagen is very important for all ages. Of course, if you're giving it to younger children under 5, then always consult with your practitioner. However, if we look at the development of children, whether it's they're growing, their teeth is always a big one. When I tell parents that collagen helps with the formation and the overall integrity of their teeth, they love that because dental health is always kind of hit or miss when you have children that are a bit younger, but giving them those critical nutrients to be able to support that overall foundation is very important. And then we get into, the next stage, and that would be adolescence. And, we have girls worrying about their hair, skin, and nails and giving those nutrients to provide those areas. You have boys that tend to be a little bit more rough and play competitive sports, and being able to maintain that mobility and that flexibility and also that ability to recover. And then we go into a bit of the 20s and 30s, and those are really critical because that's really when things start to take a turn. After 30 years old, our body's natural collagen production starts to decline, and it declines about 5% every 10 years. So it's very important to stay on top of that and to use that as a regular basis. And then if you go to an even older age and you're what they would call collagen deficient because you haven't been consuming these critical nutrients or amino acids, that's why people will often say, doing a collagen load to help saturate the body and make sure that it's getting those important nutrients. So age, everybody can benefit from it at all ages because it's helping at different stages in our life for our overall development and how we feel internally.
So, and then instead of the actual broths and getting the chicken and eat it all from the bone, you guys have a powder, right? So tell us a little bit about those collagen powders and how much to take, etc.
So we have both a collagen powder and a bone broth powder. So the collagen is going to contain 5 types of collagen from 4 food sources. Again, you're getting the beef, chicken, fish, eggshell, membrane, and those are all going to provide the nutrients to support multiple areas of our body. And it takes the guesswork out because most of us aren't eating, organ meats or fish skin or even consuming broth on a regular basis. So making sure that we get those into our diet is important. But also when it comes to the bone broth powder, it's even more convenient in terms of a superfood for individuals who like to consume bone broth but maybe don't have the time, the 48 to 72 hours to soak those bones. And then there's a little bit of a wiggle area as well, where if you soak them too long, if you're not using outside of vinegar to draw out the minerals, the histamine levels can raise. You may not be getting the same amount of consistency in terms of protein and collagen per batch. So we took the guesswork out for individuals by providing that powder that's going to have a concentrated form of more collagen, especially that type 2 from chicken, having those glycosaminoglycans, those glucosamine chondroitin hyaluronic acid. So being able to have those in an easy, convenient form is very important. And 1 scoop of the bone broth protein powder is equivalent to 2.5 servings of homemade or store-bought bone broth. And when it comes to collagen overall and how much we should be consuming, the way I like to look at it is 30% of our total protein comes from collagen. So if you're about, we'll say 200 pounds, you're having about 30% of your overall collagen. That's about 70 grams of collagen per day. So even having, excuse me, my math is off. So 30 grams of collagen a day would be very important. So being able to have 1 to 3 scoops spread throughout the day, or even having 2 scoops twice a day would be very important for making sure that we're getting that minimum. And I know that the minimum is always a big deal because, again, we have to consider that we haven't been using this for quite a while, and we haven't been having these proteins in these specific forms.
So we got to get from deficient back to normal first.
Yes.
So if I understand correctly, we have a collagen powder. That's more like a supplement. You mix that with water.
So that's the beauty of it because it's odorless and tasteless. Unflavored, essentially. You can mix it in your coffee. That's one of the most popular ways.
That's the way I do it in my coffee.
You like to bake, you can throw it in cooking. It's not heat sensitive, so you don't have to worry about the amino acid nature being denatured. And then for like the bone broth powder, for example, one of the most popular ways to use that is by adding a scoop to your rice cooker. A great way to protein enrich your rice so that you're not just having naked carbohydrates, which can, for some negatively impact the blood sugar level.
What else besides the rice cooker? How would I use the bone broth?
So you can use it as a replacement for stews, for soups. If you like to make protein pancakes in the morning, we have the bone broth chocolate flavor. If you like to have smoothies, even pre and post workout nutrition is very important. So adding some fruit, some almond milk, whatever your preference is. There's multiple ways to get this into your diet.
Oh, excellent.
And you can also, for those that want to cut down on saturated fats, when you're sauteing your vegetables, you can use the bone broth as a substitute for butter. And it again adds, like with the rice, it adds a nice flavor to the veggies.
I'm starting to get hungry, guys. You mentioned 5 types of collagen, and you mentioned chicken and beef. And so, where do you guys source that collagen? Or your
That's a great question.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the beef, we are sourcing it from New Zealand cattle as well as Argentina, mainly because those two countries have some of the highest animal welfare rating systems. They treat the animals amazing. They're grass fed, pasture finished. So it's very important to make sure that we're getting some of the highest quality when it comes to the bovine collagen that we're getting. When it comes to the chicken, we're sourcing from local farms here in the United States. Same thing with the eggs. The eggs are coming from the same farm as the chicken. So all U.S. sourced, locally grown. And then when it comes to the fish, we're sourcing from the northern Pacific Atlantic Ocean. So all wild caught, which is very important. We want to make sure that we're not utilizing a farm-raised fish.
Yeah.
So we like to keep it here in the U.S. when we can, and then when not, we make sure that we're getting from only the countries with the highest welfare rating system to make sure we're only providing the highest quality.
Excellent. Is there any research done on this collagen, on this type of collagen?
So at this time, for the Ancient Nutrition Collagen, we have 5 human clinical studies on the type of collagen, specifically the eggshell membrane. We've done something a little new to this particular product. We've actually fermented the eggshell membrane collagen.
And explain why and how would that work better?
Of course. So the fermentation process, for those of you who have been following Jordan for a very long time, you understand that his love for the fermentation process is very big. So what we're doing is we're taking these collagen peptides that have already been through the process of hydrolysis. So we made them hydrolyzed. And so that means that they're already broken down from the natural state, which is in turn makes them easier to absorb. Well, when we do the fermentation process, we are using a single strain of yeast and a single strain of bacteria to create proteolytic enzymes to help further break down this collagen into di and tripeptides, which essentially makes it even easier to absorb and digest. But not just that, when we were measuring and doing studies on the fermented collagen, we found that when measured against a biomarker known as CTX2, which is the breakdown of type 2 collagen, we found that the fermented collagen was able to slow or even reverse the negative impact of inflammation and the breakdown of type 2 collagen. So very, very exciting, especially for us as we're aging and speeding up our recovery and being able to just support the overall structural integrity of our joints and cartilage was very important for us.
Yeah. So that's interesting because, of course, fermentation means pre-digestion. So what happens is it's much easier to digest and therefore much better bioavailable for anybody, right?
Exactly.
So that's the purpose of the fermentation. That's the purpose of the fermentation then.
Yes.
Yes. Very good. Now, I heard through the grapevines here when you guys talked that you are coming out, or already just did, with an improved version of this collagen product. Why don't you share with the listeners what this improved version of your 5 types of collagen is?
Absolutely. So originally we did only have the 5 types of collagen from 4 food sources, which again was intended to cover us from head to toe. Rather than just providing 1 or 2 types of collagen, we're providing multiple, kind of like the multivitamins of collagen to cover, again, multiple areas. So what we did is we took that solid foundation and we decided to make it even more than just collagen. So what we've done is we have added that fermented eggshell membrane, which again is very important for supporting our joints, our recovery from exercise, and a lot of added benefits in terms of seeing changes and up to 5 days from using this product. So using clinically studied ingredients was very important, especially that fermented collagen. But then we didn't stop there. We decided to introduce a vitamin C product into the powder. And it's not just any vitamin C. Most of the time we would think of ascorbic acid form of vitamin C. But what we're doing is we're actually bringing a vitamin C in a lipid metabolite of ascorbate. So similar to a liposome. Yeah. So we're covering that vitamin C in that lipid bilayer to act as a magnet to attract to our cells to have better cellular retention, because traditionally ascorbic acid vitamin C tends to have a half-life in the body of about 2 hours, depending on genetics and stress and things of that nature. So making sure to provide a high quality C that stays in our body was very important. But then we decided to enhance that one step further by utilizing a soil-based organism, SBO strain of probiotic known as Bacillus coagulin. It's in a 2 billion CFU clinically studied dose, and compared to traditional probiotics or strains of bacteria, SBOs are very resilient because of their ability to survive and thrive in harsh conditions. And Bacillus coagulin is one of those that's actually used in European countries alongside antibiotics because of its ability to not be destroyed by those antibiotics, nor our digestive system, our stomach acids, or even heat. So providing
even our stomach acid is not going to affect it. It actually ends up in the small intestine.
Yes, exactly. That was very important.
Yeah. All right, that sounds like a pretty amazing formula.
And we've got it at both stores.
You already have it?
We have it. We're selling it now, and we've got it on sale until the end of the month, till March 1st at 25% off. So it's a great time to try it. I like the first one. That was our best seller. And with the introduction of this new tier, it's doing even better.
All right.
Yeah, the response by the women, again, hair, skin, and nails. We know what drives our industry, and women don't come back and buy the product if they're not seeing the results. The best clinicals are just I'm testimonial. I'm getting what I put my money on the table, and the expectation was fulfilled. That's what we want.
So visually, your female clients see the improvement,
right?
But we also know that all of that is going on inside the body, which we cannot see.
Right. I'm more concerned about the gut. Remember that the large and small intestine, second largest organ, second only to the skin. So they're getting that benefit too. Yeah. And then the other one for my age, it's gum. You want to keep those $10,000 implants that you had.
That's right.
You want to make sure the support gum and jawbones are flexible enough, because you chomp on your chompers every time you eat. So that's the hidden part. But
And again, everybody's also still talking about COVID. Here we are still in a COVID pandemic, and we talked about COVID previously, and the importance of the gut as the major part or the major driver of our immune system.
Yep.
So again,
80%. It's a whole 80%.
80% of the immune system starts in the gut. So again, it's very important that we fix that leaky gut, and these collagens are a major contributor to make that happen, right, Peter?
They do. They definitely support that epithelial tissue and that preventing that permeability of those large protein molecules from getting into the bloodstream and causing even further damage.
It's like the grout that patches everything up so it doesn't leak, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else that you want to share with our listeners or viewers today, Peter? Something I forgot or something you want to share?
So one of the main things is just to remember that what we're bringing here to the market is clinically studied collagen. So we are the first company to use clinically studied ingredients and bring a clinically studied collagen to the market. And that's important because, again, like you were saying, Mitch, having the results and the ability to see them firsthand at an accelerated rate is very important. And making sure that we're providing nutrients that work is what we wanted to present, because we all want products that work. We don't want to waste our money on something that's not delivering on amazing benefits. So,
yeah, my motto when I did Fitness Friday wellness radio in the old style was science-driven, performance delivered, and that's why Jordan and Dr. Axe and those other key greats all do that. Terry Limrod, the list is endless.
Yeah, sure. All right, no, and that's why I love Whole Foods is so great. Mitch always does his research, make sure that he has clinically proven products, ingredients, and adheres to those high standards that we really want, because more and more people are getting health conscious, right? And so they are going to a health food store and spending some money, and not all of us have a lot of money. So they decide it's important. They decide to go to a health food store. So we want to give them something that works, right? And there's many products out there that really don't work too.
The internet is littered with them.
Yeah, it's littered with them. So it's people like Mitch that on a daily basis continue to figure out which ones work, which ones have the research behind it that could benefit our local community here in the greater Daytona area.
Thank you.
So Mitch, any of your last words, and what is the special again?
I just want to invite everybody. The two stores are celebrating our customers for the 30th year. And
everything on sale.
And we got incredible sales from one end of the store to the other, from our deli to HBA, Health and Beauty Aids. The entire Dr. Axe line is at 25% off, and this is going until the end of February. So I invite everyone to come in. Free sample. You don't have to buy anything.
Free samples.
Free samples. Come in.
So the product we talked about today, we can get free samples.
Yes, then get some price. But understand that you're not going to take one serving of the collagen and think that it's
suddenly you're going to
right. But since coffee is sacred to me, when Peter says it's tasteless, I put it in my coffee. It actually makes it creamier because I use coconut. I do coconut cream in my coffee also, and I love it. But again, instead of spending, the investment in a whole tub, get some samples, and then we have the flavors too. For what Peter was saying for smoothies.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, just everybody come on in. And the literature, as always, we give out, literature that's not just sales hype. It's the real deal.
It's always educational, as all of educational information, books, pamphlets. Mitch, usually, when I walk in to get my smoothie, he's always usually in one of the aisles explaining something to somebody, because that's what he does. So I hope you love Whole Foods. Get your samples, get your literature, get 25% off, and get strong and healthy again. Right, Peter?
Right.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Remember, always choose health freedom.
Peter, I've got a client. I need to pick your brain. He's 2.5 years old, and I don't know why the mother is still breastfeeding, but the kid